Sandy Says Read. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a review of At Her Service by Michel Prince. I picked up this book at Imaginarium 2022, so last summer. It's taken me that long to get around to it. I read this a few weeks ago, so some of this I'm doing by memory, some of it I'm doing from my notes, because I did take notes for you guys. All right, so let's start here. At Her Service is book 1 in the Ryd series by Michel Prince, and it is 246 pages. It's published by Pegasus in 2021. Now, this is a romance novel, contemporary romance novel, and you guys know that's not usually my jam. So we're gonna get through this best we can. It was a good book. It was a good story, good characters, but you guys know romance usually isn't my jam. So I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy it, because it was a good story, and we'll leave it at that. The main character is Harrison Cordell. His lady interest in the book is Mackenzie Turner, and Harrison is he's like an ex-military, a former military operative. He understands how to protect and serve and take care of folks, okay? So he works for a gentleman who put together sort of not a secret service, but like a protective service detail. So you can, as a citizen, you can call up these folks and order protective details. You can order up someone to protect and watch over your kids being taken to school or somewhere. You know, if you're highfalutin like that, right? Well, because of, I don't know, privacy or folks feeling paranoid, they're not as willing to hire services that much. So Harrison's boss is looking for new ways to branch out and do more stuff with his business. What he's come up with, what he and his daughter have come up with, is a ride service like Uber, but with a twist. You get not just a ride service, but also protective detail with your ride service. So it's very high class. It's very exclusive. You get a special business card that is for you alone to use to call on your specific driver. And Harrison Cordell is one of those drivers, because he can do all the things and take care of all the people. He's very alpha male, right? He's awesome and protective, and he knows his stuff. He's skilled. He's a good hero. Okay, so Mackenzie Turner, she works for a woman who is just a terrible, awful, horrible boss. She is the kind of boss you hate to work for. Okay, I saw so many elements within that boss character that harkened back to a horrible woman that I worked for at the university that shall not be named. Oh, it was weird, uncanny how many of these weird, like, manipulative tricks this chick would do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I recognize that. She also was like a sex fiend, which I know is not what the woman I worked for was like. But this character, this boss character, had this just prurience about her that was weird. I found that odd in this book. But it came into play because this boss character was not the kind of mentor that Kenzie needed to be looking up to. And Kenzie sort of figured that out through the novel. I mean, Kenzie was, she was like finding herself in this novel. She was finding the kind of boss woman she wanted to be. So we saw these two characters, coming together and finding love, of course, because it's a romance novel, but finding how they wanted their paths to be in the future. And I thought that was a nice twist on the romance novel. Is that it? Sort of? Okay, you know how I like to give you guys a little taste of the author's writing style in these reviews, so let's do that. The opening paragraph, you guys, was awesome. It hooked me, so let me see if I can get to that without taking too much time, and I can read you the opening paragraph, because it was awesome. It was great. It was one of those that made me go, ooh, this would win a contest. You know how there are all these writing contests out there for like best opening scene, best first chapter. This was like a best first paragraph kind of thing. When I was reading it, I went, oh, this is the hook. All right. There was no way Harrison Cordell could avoid the elbow flying toward his face. Angle, trajectory, speed, all were working against him in the moment. All he could do was brace and hope to recover before more than his nose was sitting sideways on his body. The hard smash sent pain splintering from the apex of what he assumed was his now demolished nose and across the expanse of his cheeks, blinding him temporally. His only recourse was to grab the offending limb with his own hands and wrench it backward. His knee found the bend in his attacker's, to add to the hopefully painful tendon damage to make the assailant bend to his will. Blood dripping from Harrison's nose aside, his attacker was down, disabled, and Harrison needed only a tissue, a round or two of painkillers, and maybe ice for his troubles. Nice, right? I mean, you immediately get the feel that Harrison is the alpha male in this situation. He's going to be a character who can take care of himself. And I liked that. I liked that a lot. There were a few things in here that made me go, it's written in third person point of view, but I think it was originally written in first person, because there's a couple spots where the grammar just slips, and I think the editor just missed a couple spots. My example is from page 119, where the hero and the heroine have been dancing in this wet, like dewy grass, and it says, lips to lips, but not touching, both lightly panting, but not from the dancing. Kenzie's heart pounded in her chest as she prayed for him to kiss her, but he stilled, as if all the time we had spent together the other night was forgotten. See, there was that switch right there that I caught that a couple times in here, and it takes you out of the story for a moment, but then you dive back in. I mean, because it goes right back in. Their texts hadn't been as involved today either. Harrison said he was going to be working all day and wouldn't be able to respond, but said he'd help when she was around with the light. And so the premise for this scene is that they're installing a safety light on her porch, because he's protecting her, he's taking care of her. At her service. This is book 1 of the Ryd series by Michel Prince, and a good story. There's some twists and some turns, and there's that give and take, because she's a client of his, sorta kinda. Her boss is a client of his for a while. There's give and take and some tension and stuff, so very nice. Okay, that's it, you guys. I think I'm gonna stop reading romance novels for a while and dive back into like the fantasy and the stuff that I'm really, really keen on, because it's almost putting me into a reading slump, to be reading these romance books, because that's not my jam. So we're going to get into some fantasy stuff, I think, to review for you guys soon. That's it. Thumbs up, because good characters are worth reading, definitely. Please click the notification bell so that you are notified when I do these random things. And thanks for tuning in.